And in fact, one thing that's kind of interesting for people to realize is solar panels produce more electricity when they're cold.
This is Moy here with ES Solar. Welcome back to the Huddle. And today, in What's the Answer? In this episode, we're gonna learn about, how the solar actually work. How does it create power to your home? And we're trying to figure out who will be the best person to talk about this. And we thought of Brandon Bills. So
Wow.
I'm gonna let him introduce himself a little bit, just who you are, how long you've been with ES Solar, what is your title, why are you so good at what you do?
Yeah, my name's Brandon Bills. I've been with ES Solar since pretty much the beginning, going on 10 years now. Originally started as the sales manager and then kind of worked on creating different departments here at ES Solar. A lot of the customer service department, the engineering proposals, really the guys that figure stuff out and how we can bring the best products to our customers. Those departments have all been created by me.
Oh, nice.
Currently, right now, I'm working on developing new markets. So I'm figuring out new places that we can go and new relationships that we can have with the utilities to make it more affordable for homeowners.
Nice. I remember when I started, years ago, you were running multiple departments and you have moved up and done many different things. And anytime there came about battery concepts or new batteries or new products to basically, do better with solar, it's always been used. So
yeah, that's kind of my role at ES Solar, figure out how it works and how to make it work for homeowners.
Obviously, what we're trying to find out is, how do solar panels actually turn sunlight into usable power for your home, right? I know it sounds like something that everybody should know, but there's more to it, right? So explain that to me.
Sure.
If I'm trying to get solar for my house, I have a power bill right now, and I heard or continue to hear that getting panels will help me to not have a power bill. So explain to me how panels turn.
Yeah. So solar panels are a big part of a whole system.
Okay.
And they're the part of the system that makes electricity. There's no electronics in them. There's nothing that has to think. It's all chemicals.
Okay.
And so they've layered silicon, just like your computer chip, with chemicals that make it so that when sunlight hits the top of that layer, it creates electricity pressure.
Okay.
And that electricity pressure, or voltage as we call it, we make a path for it to be able to be used by your home.
Okay.
And so solar panels make power all the time. Anytime there's light, whether it's a tiny amount of light or a lot of light, they're always producing. Now, we don't always use that power.
Right.
And that's where electronics and things like inverters and stuff like that come into play. But as far as the solar panels themselves, it really is just when photons are hitting that layer of silicon, they're creating electricity. That's a really simplified version of it. There's also other parts that make up the solar panel. There's protective glass that's tempered, that's a lot like your car windshield, to protect it. Mm-hmm. And that's why they can last sometimes 40, 50, 60 years, anticipated lifetime. They all have a warranty of 25 years. So there's nothing complicated about them. Okay. And the solar panels themselves are just the engine that produces electricity from light.
Does it always have to be sunny to be able to actually produce?
Yeah,
that's one concept. I didn't understand, right? Yeah. When I got my system, it was a big question. Obviously, we're in Utah, and it was like, okay, there's gonna be snow, there's gonna be cloudy days. Is it gonna produce power, right? Does the panels work during that time? So
yeah, they produce power from any light photons. Even if I were to put a solar panel right here in with the lights that we have inside, they would produce electricity. Now, is it enough electricity to start up some of the electronics that are needed in order to convert that into usable power in our home? Maybe not. But there are panels that if you were to get a meter out, you would register power even from moonlight or from the lights that are on the street lamp that's there. So any amount of power, including around here, it's pretty important that they still produce power under snow.
Okay.
The snow is blocking some of the light, but they'll still produce some power, just like they will on a cloudy day or anything else. So it doesn't have to be perfectly sunny. And in fact, one thing that's kind of interesting for people to realize is solar panels produce more electricity when they're cold. Just like your computer works better when it's really cold. That's why data centers are like freezing cold.
Okay.
Your solar panels actually produce the most possible electricity when it's freezing cold but super sunny.
Wow.
If it's hot in the middle of the summer, they produce a lot because of a long sunny day, but not because of the most amount of power that they're putting out at any time.
Hot, basically.
Yeah, when it's hot, that's more resistance for that electricity to have to work its way through.
Okay.
So the colder they are, the more they can produce.
So, it's so crazy, but I know that there's a lot of different panels out there, and I know that with time, solar is not new. Solar has been here for a really long time, and I remember some panels being like 100 watt, to produce power or whatever, but now it has changed so much. So how has that process been? What do you think has happened, 10 years from now with the panels, with the solar panels?
Yeah, so I think we've kind of hit the maximum that chemical reaction can do.
Okay.
A lot of the advances that we've had over the last 10, 15 years have been from refining and making more and more pure silicon. They figured out ways. They used to take chunks of silicon rock and melt it into one big block and then use really fine wire that has like diamond grit on it and cut it into teeny slivers of silicon.
Okay.
Think of it like when you go to get sandwich meat, right? They're doing that with a big silicon block.
Right.
Because it was a whole bunch of rocks melted together, you could see the different angles of the molecular structure of those crystals.
Okay.
And so it was kind of sparkly. Think of the solar panel that's on your on your calculator growing up, or
yes,
right,
I remember
a little bit sparkly. Solar panels used to look like that up on the roof too. Whoa. And they'd be kind of a blue color. They weren't quite the same.
Because now they're black.
Now they're black,
super blue.
And what they invented was they call it monocrystalline. And what they do is when they melt the rock together, they put it in a long tube and they do it under pressure. Okay. It's called an autoclave. So it makes it really hot and turns it into liquid silicon, and then it dries back into a crystal. And when it's one big crystal in the perfect shape of a cylinder, then they slice it and all of the molecules in that crystal are all lined up in the same direction. And that means that then the sun can hit it and there's more surface area to actually get to the molecules and to create electricity. Wow. So they've gotten to the point where we call them monocrystalline panels. That's probably
Is that the most common one?
The most common ones.
Okay.
And normally they have little notches cut out of the corners because they took a circle and turned it into a square. So they.
That's why.
That's why it has the little notches out of the corner.
Okay.
Where the old ones, they were perfectly square. The polycrystalline, where they melted all the rocks together.
Okay.
So that's the biggest advance that we've had. The other has been how do they cut that monocrystalline to get as much surface area as possible. Not the whole solar panel is all solar panel making material. There's gaps between them. And so the cells are about this big and then they're lined up. The smaller you can get those gaps or the margins between those, the more energy producing area you have. So they've advanced a lot in the last few years, creating cell structures that are different shapes, so that they can get as much surface area as possible in the same square footage of that solar panel. So solar panel shape actually changed in the last few years. They're more of a square and less of a rectangle.
Okay.
So they've kind of shrunk down and it's gotten a little squattier, and that's to make more power out of the same square footage on your roof. Okay. But we're about maxed out.
Okay.
I don't really see solar panels themselves getting any better other than just incrementally.
Okay, so what is the biggest panel right now?
Yeah, the biggest panels are for residential, they're going to be in the 400 to 500 watt range.
Okay.
And you can pay for more expensive wattage panels, but we like the 400, 410, 415. That's kind of the standard size right now.
Okay. So if I was okay, I'm ready to go ahead and buy some solar panels for my home. Obviously you need to have an installer unless you know what you're doing, but do I just connect it to like my electric panels, or what do I need to be able to make it actually function, in my house?
So that solar panel is again part of a larger system.
Okay.
And so solar panels themselves produce direct current.
Okay.
All the electrons in that current path are all going in one direction.
So DC.
DC power, direct current power. Okay. Our home and all of our infrastructure of our grid uses alternating current because direct current over a long distance takes a lot of energy. Imagine trying to blow into a hose that's 20 miles long. How much pressure would you need to go that way and be able to push something out 20 miles? It's a lot. And the electricity works the same way. So alternating current it kind of goes back and forth so that there's not as much pressure needed in order to move electrons.
So what do I need?
So our home needs a device that changes the DC power of the solar panels into the AC power of our home, and it has to match the frequency of the alternating current, and that is an inverter.
Okay.
And there's different types of inverters. The first types of inverters 20 years ago or so, they were string inverters. They were big, bulky machines, and they were really finicky because the whole solar system had to all provide electricity with no electronics up on the roof. It was just wires coming in from the roof. And so a little bit of shade, a cloud comes over, whatever, that inverter ends up having to shut down because it's not getting enough juice from the roof. So they were really great for things like solar fields out in the middle of the desert, but not so great for people's homes.
Okay.
But it took a while to develop the next stage, which is a microinverter. They basically took one inverter and put it on the back of every single solar panel.
Okay.
The downside to that is they're expensive, and all of your electronics are up on the roof. So if you have an inverter go bad, you've got to climb up on the roof and pull panels out, disconnect, exactly. But they're about the size of your laptop, and they're a computer because they're always watching exactly what's happening with that solar panel and trying to match the frequency of the grid in alternating current. Well, what happens to computers when they're hot? We talked about what happens to computers when they're cold.
They work better, right?
Right.
But when they're hot,
they don't work as great, right? So there's a lot of loss on microinverters of electricity just to try to keep functioning in the extremely hot environment.
Because they're like attached to the panel.
Underneath the back of the solar panel, up on the black roof in the middle of the summer. And they also have a really bad lifespan. The average lifespan of a microinverter is like 7 to 10 years.
Okay.
So if you have 30 of them on your house, how often are you replacing those microinverters?
And you said they're more expensive too, right?
They're more expensive too, but the advantage to those is they're easy.
Okay.
And they're easy for an everyday electrician who doesn't specialize in solar.
Oh, okay.
So if you go to look for a solar company that really doesn't do solar as their main thing, they're probably going to offer you a microinverter.
Because it's
easier to connect for them.
It's like a plug and play, basically.
And they're used to the wiring, it's all alternating current, and so it's what they're used to in their home.
Okay.
The next evolution, the hybrid, best of both worlds kind of model, that really takes somebody who knows what they're doing in solar to be able to do correctly.
Okay.
And that's a large inverter that has some power electronics on the roof that help to adjust and provide that inverter with the maximum amount of power, but doesn't actually do the conversion up on the roof. So instead of a computer up on the roof, it's just a little module, and it adjusts and communicates with the inverter. And so we have optimizers, maximizers. Those are some name brands of devices that do that.
Okay.
And those are the best of both worlds. And that's really what we primarily offer and have offered my whole time at ES Solar, because we decided to go all in and specialize in solar.
Okay.
So those are the most efficient, best performing, longest lasting types of inverters.
So basically, you will need an inverter to be able to connect your panels to your home, right? Because it's changing.
Yep, and a licensed electrician and all that kind of stuff, building permit, all of that is required for that inverter equipment.
Okay. How long do they usually last, the inverters?
Yeah, so the standard is like 12 to 15 years for an inverter, but the optimizers and optimizers and maximizers up on the roof, those are 25-year warranties on them. That doesn't mean that when it's out of warranty, it's going to go bad.
Right.
But those are the bits of technology that is advancing. You asked me about solar panels themselves. I don't think solar panels themselves are really going to advance a whole lot more, but inverters are advancing and getting more and more efficient. And they're now integrating with energy storage and batteries and smart load management, energy management of your home, so your house can pick and choose when and how to use electricity. That makes a bigger difference. And so a lot of people that bought solar maybe in 2015, 2018, even all the way up to 2020, batteries really weren't an option then. And they'll be replacing those inverters with the next generation of inverter that can communicate with the battery, that can do some of those smart features. And that's not a bad thing. Overall, in the cost of your entire equipment, the inverter is not a very large amount of cost, but it is the part that makes a big difference as technology advances. So I think people, when it gets to that 10-year mark or whatever of owning solar system, they'll want to upgrade to the latest. So I'm not really sad for our industry to not have 25 or 30 or 40-year warranties on the inverter, because imagine
it's just like a phone, right?
Yeah,
like you had an
phone,
iPhone 1 first version.
Right?
Now
would
we're
you want to be
right?
using an iPhone 1 now? Probably not.
No, exactly. Or flip phone, right?
And so there's a lot of advances on that type of the world, and so that's kind of how we've set things up to be future-proof. Is use a good quality install, but use technology that we can then integrate into some of these other systems.
We're so crazy because you say that about how technology keeps changing. Obviously, it keeps changing, and it's going to continue to change. I heard of smart breakers. It's so crazy just how, I don't know how they work, but it's so powerful, the fact that you can have the ability to control your energy with a smart breaker from your phone. You don't even have to go to the panel, you just have to be on the phone, and
you don't even need to do it on your phone. If you set it up right, like at my house, I have batteries and I have a smart panel that's full of smart breakers.
Wow.
So my entire panel has smart breakers, and I'm on a type of power usage agreement with my utility.
Okay.
To do time of use power.
Okay.
So electricity is like half as much expensive as it normally is for everybody else 90% of the day. But during a few hours, like 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 8 or 9 o'clock at night, it depends on your utility what that peak time is, it gets really, really expensive. Maybe 3 or 4 times as expensive as normal electricity.
And that wasn't a thing.
That wasn't
a thing. There was other states like California where that was a thing, and there's maybe 4 or 5 different time of use.
And I was able to drop my power bill. I had solar already, I had batteries, but I was still getting a power bill of like $50 or $60 a month, and I was able to drop that to a true like $0 power bill. And the way I do that is I go in and I program stuff so that my electric vehicles don't charge during that peak time. So my dryer doesn't run during that peak time. So my air conditioner just circulates the fan and cools down. You can use all these smart devices to do that kind of stuff. But also during a power outage, it's really nice because if it's sunny and I have lots of battery, it'll allow me to do stuff like charge my vehicle, or it'll allow me to run a load of laundry, or to use my whole home humidifier, or even power my pool pump to be able to circulate my pool. But if the conditions aren't right to where I don't have enough power, instead of it completely sacrificing all the things that are important in my home, those nice to have items start shutting off automatically by the computer. So the computer says, hey, you don't really need to be running your pool pump right now, or you don't really need to be running your air conditioning
there's a power
compressor
outage.
or whatever.
This is
It's
what
a
you
power
wanna do.
outage. But if the conditions are right that you can, it allows you to do that. And that's really nice to be able to have the freedom during a long power outage to maybe charge up your vehicle or to maybe run the air conditioning for a little while. But it's really the smart devices that are making the difference.
That is so crazy, just how technology keeps just evolving, keeps changing, and as much as we don't want to adapt to it, it's going to continue without us wanting to or not, right?
Yeah.
It's just going to happen, right? And with that, the next topic, solar versus utility power, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, each one of them have their cons and pros, right? Obviously, most people have power due to the grid, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of homes are changing now to solar, and obviously with the battery, which we'll get into that maybe later or a different podcast. So let's talk a little bit about the difference or solar versus utility power.
Sure. So it's a lot like owning your home versus renting your home.
Okay.
If you own your solar equipment, you're able to consume all of your electricity from your solar panels, and then whatever's left over after your house has already gobbled up all of the electricity it could from your solar panels is either stored in a battery or sold back out to the utility. That's called a net metering agreement, or sometimes a feed-in tariff agreement, or a buy-sell agreement with your utility. They pay you an amount of electricity for the electricity that you sell back to them. And that's really important to have that. Even if you think like, I have this big solar system, I'm gonna take myself off the grid, you're really not taking yourself off the grid, because even batteries, even sophisticated solar systems, I can't store power from April and use it next January. That's not how the system works. What it does is it helps me to store power from today and use it tonight.
Right.
And there's times of the year where we have a lot of solar. Remember, if it's cool and sunny for a long period of time, like March, April, May, and I'm not running my air conditioner, I'm using a tiny amount of the electricity that I'm producing from my solar panels. So I'm selling a lot of power in that season of the year back to the utility. But then in the summer, the tables switch, and I end up consuming a lot of power because I'm using my air conditioning all the time because it got hot. And so then I'm using power from the grid because my solar panels can't keep up.
Right.
Same thing in the middle of the winter when there isn't very many hours of sunlight. So I need those times of the year where I have a lot of excess in spring and in fall, and I need to be able to sell to the utility so that then I can use those credits that I get, the money that I get by selling it in those time periods during the summer and during the winter when my solar just can't keep up. Even if I have a giant solar system that's sized or even bigger than what I need for my home, we can't do anything about the way that the seasons work and the number of sunlight hours that we have in the winter, for example, or the heat that we have in the summer. And so we need that utility agreement. For a long time, the utility and the solar customer were kind of at odds with each other because we were taking away their business, right?
Right.
And there's a huge advantage to that for a homeowner to own their own power, to take control of their own power bill versus just paying the utility. But things have changed with these new technologies that we're talking about. The more sophisticated, smarter types of solar systems can now be an asset for the utilities. And they've started to incentivize you by giving you money or paying you monthly to sign up for their programs with the utility, because they can use your solar system if they can use it as a dispatchable asset, which means can they command your battery at certain times of the day when they need it, say there's a frequency event or say there's something that they need, and the grid itself needs the support of all these batteries, they'll pay you to be able to use your battery temporarily to try to solve that problem.
But it's not all the time, right?
It's not all the time. But that is a massive change in the relationship that we now have with utilities, where they see us as something that they want to have, where in the past they did everything they could to keep us from switching over to solar.
So it's a win-win situation for all parties involved.
Now it is.
Right.
Now that it's dispatchable, now that we can send power when the utility needs it, not just power all the time, by using batteries and solar and all of that, it is a huge asset. In fact, our federal government here in the United States recognized that that was such a big asset for our grid stability and our future of our infrastructure, that they shifted the tax credits to not be so much on solar itself, but to be on more of the equipment that can interact in this way.
Which is in the batteries.
The batteries and the
so it benefits the batteries
system.
rather than the panels itself. Okay.
And that's because they categorized it instead of as environmental protection or stuff like that. It's now under national defense and grid infrastructure. And that's because they see that that is a fundamental part of keeping us on the cutting edge as we evolve our technology here in the United States, but also to keep us from having a grid that's so outdated that it's dangerous, right? An outdated grid could be a real vulnerability for our country. And so every individual who chooses to add a battery to their home, chooses to enter into that agreement, they're actually helping the greater community and the greater grid. So it's a win-win, like you said. It's a little bit selfish for you because your power bill goes away and you don't need to. And you know can isolate yourself in an emergency power outage. You have power. All of that kind of stuff is really nice. But what it does for us as a community is it makes it so we don't have to buy and pay for electricity at crazy, ridiculous rates. And we don't have to build as many power plants and peaker plants and things like that that are required to get a sophisticated grid running. We're putting a lot of demand on our grid when we put things like AI.
Well, it's changing. We have more computers,
technology,
we have more cell phones, we have
data
EV cars,
centers, EVs, all of that. All of that is putting a huge strain on our grid, and this is one way that a consumer can benefit from helping that situation.
You know, the crazy part about it, talking, just on myself, before I got, my system, I didn't care about power. I just turn on everything, right? And now that I have a system and I can monitor my system, crazy things happen. I pay attention to when I want to wash clothes, when I want to connect certain things, right? And most important, it lets me save money my way because now I'm using the washer when I have, perhaps power in my battery, right? Or my battery rather than using for the grid or things like that. And my consumption, it definitely increased at first because I have panels, I have more power, I don't have a power bill. It's okay, let's use more. And then eventually you start paying attention to your application, which I did. And I'm like, wow, my consumption went up. So now I need to be careful, right? So again, it's a win-win situation. Obviously, we want to be connected to the grid because it's important. Like you're saying, there's going to be probably sometimes where you're going to need that. The AC, we're going to need to be connected to the grid, right? The credits are powerful because whatever you don't get paid at the end of the year or quarterly, whatever, based on your utility, they pay you back, right? So those are the beautiful things about it, and I love that the grid utility power is working with solar now. I remember, that it was against each other, and now it's like, let's work together, let's make this a win-win situation for everybody, right? Company wins, the grid wins, the customer wins. So one of the things that a lot of times we get to hear, and it's funny, but I'll wait for things to go down in price so I can get a solar system in my house. And I feel like technology is going to continue to increase regardless of the cost being lower now. It's never going to be, to me personally, I don't think it's never going to be lower. I think, it's going to continue to be priced as the technology gets better, right? So tell me, why do you think solar technology is better than ever now? And if I'm thinking, I'll just wait for prices to go down, why today? Why now?
Yeah, I think you're right at the right spot right now. So solar panels themselves aren't going to get much more efficient. We talked about that a little bit earlier. The energy storage systems and the rest, the inverters, all of that, they'll get more sophisticated, but maybe not to the point where it's worth waiting, because those batteries really are working great. And a lot of that has to do the reason I say now's the time is a lot of the incentives that are out there are meant for trailblazers. They're meant for the first people, and over time, we have seen it already where we've been in the WattSmart program here in Utah with Rocky Mountain Power. We've seen their incentive get smaller and smaller. And all across the country, that's the way it's kind of set up. They want people to join the incentive because they want people to hook their batteries up so that they can take care of the grid in a cost-effective way for the utility. It's really easy to just write some programming and tell these batteries to push power out to the grid when we have a frequency problem or whatever. But that program and the tax incentive just are all scheduled to get less and less and less and less as more people adopt this technology. And eventually that's good for our industry because it'll be so mainstream and normal that everybody will want solar and batteries. But if you wait and you're not one of those trailblazers, then you miss out on a large financial incentive to join now. And eventually it will be something that everybody needs. And sadly, the reason why I believe it will eventually be something everybody needs is because our utilities cannot continue to operate the way that they are now. They have to raise rates. They have to implement things like time of use and force people to get into that. Those things are coming. We're seeing it in some markets already, and it's just a matter of time. So you can either do it now while you have these big incentives to do it, or you can wait till later. You know, do you use the carrot or do you use the stick? Eventually they're going to force us all to change. And I would rather be one who takes the carrot and does it now than wait until I feel the stick of a $500 power bill or something crazy that forces me to make those choices.
It's so crazy because, you know, you're saying, again, we're going back to renting versus owning, right? A lot of times, and most of the time, owning is much better than renting because you're paying somebody else, right? So why not own your own power, your own electricity? Time of use, I mean, it's crazy. I remember seeing some customers, you know, in California, they have solar panels and the power bill was like $400, all because of the time of use cost, right? That a battery helped their benefit and they could use the battery at the time of use, which decreased their power. So I'm just thinking about this whole process. I think Utah is advancing at a good pace, but I'm looking at other states like such as California, right? And it's crazy how we're not that far away from that. It's just a matter of time, and you're right. You know, the incentives are going down. They keep changing and modifying, but at the end of the day, you know, it's a win-win situation now. Obviously, the panels, it sounds like they're a lot more efficient than they were before. You mentioned that they may not be more efficient in the future, so that's great. Obviously, having the battery storage allows you to control a little bit when you want to use, time of use, right? You use it at night, power outages, your battery is charged, you can use some of it. Smart breakers, which it's insane to think about that you can control what you want on and off, especially if you have a big family like me, right? Kids don't care. Boop, boop, turn on all the switches on. In a power outage, it's like, guys, you know, you have more control of that. So it's amazing. And obviously you know, the application, the app that we have that allows you to be smart, how you monitor your systems. So technology just keeps getting better. It's like a phone, right? Even you get the the iPhone 17, I'm just pointing that out. You need to update that because technology keeps changing. Every phone, every computer, you need to update as new updates happen in the technology world, right? So as much as, you know, we didn't want to use cell phones, now we use cell phones. We can try to have the flip phone, but we don't get the benefits of having a screen on a smart cell phone, right?
Well, I think we do some things here at ES Solar specifically with that in mind. And I've been that way from the very beginning 10 years ago, or, you know, almost 11. We have thought about what the future looks like. And we've tried to make a relationship with our customers so that we're not just the installer that installed their solar system and then never are around again. We have customer service, we have programs that help. And a big one is the commissioning, that we actually at the end of your install, as you get all this new equipment, we're unique in that we sit down with you, We go over everything. We teach you how to use those apps. We answer any of your questions and kind of do a debrief of this whole process, make sure that you feel comfortable with your new equipment, but also look to the future, look to that relationship, and do a little bit of educating. They'll leave behind some information. One is that I created called Make Hay While the Sun Shines.
Right.
And that's all about how to change your behaviors to take advantage of your new solar system.
Yeah.
Because there's things that may not be intuitive. Like, don't run your air conditioner in the middle of the night when you don't have any solar panels.
Right.
Run it during the day and get your house nice and cold. That may be counterintuitive to how you've thought about conserving energy in the past. Things like that change because now you have a solar system in the mix. And so take advantage of that. I mean, honestly, with our 100% customer satisfaction goal and trying to really help our customers understand the advantages of their system and the benefits that they have and maximize it to the best of its potential is really important. And there's lots of tools to do that. And that's one of the things I'm most proud of at ES Solar is really that we do think about, adding on to this system. We give existing customers of ours, they can get at cost upgrades, things like new inverters or a battery in an inverter and things like that. And so we take care of our customers in a really good way.
Well, that's the crazy part, but I just, for me, I remember, I bought the system before I started working for the company, and my biggest thing was who's going to install it, who's going to service it, right? And I got 3-4 different pitches from different companies, and to me, ES Solar did everything in-house. So to me, it was like, I'm going to spend a certain amount of money on my house, right? And it's a product that I'm thinking of having for 20 plus years. Is this company going to be here? Not just that, who do I have to call if something goes wrong? Just one company, right? While the other companies that came to my house, it's like, oh yeah, there's gonna be somebody that's gonna install it for you. Oh yeah, somebody else is gonna service it for you. That to me is like, I'm gonna be jumping around with different people, and it scared me, especially with a purchase like a solar system on my home, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I decided to utilize or use ES Solar as my system, because they did everything in-house, and you mentioned that. And the benefits have definitely been great for me. So I appreciate it. Hopefully, this episode helped a little bit to understand a little bit how, actual solar panels work, how they function to your home. I know that probably some of you guys may have some more questions, and if you do, please feel free to let us know. This is one of many other podcasts that we're gonna be having, and we wanted to start with maybe Solar 101, let's just call that, right?
Yeah.
To try to figure out how the solar panels work and function to your home. So, Brandon, I appreciate you coming, doing this with us, and hopefully we get to see you again and have another interview here maybe next year or so, see what has changed since then. In the meantime, please continue to follow us, watch our podcast. Like I said, we're gonna have more content that we're gonna bring in to all of you guys, and we all appreciate it. So have a good day. And Brandon, thank you so much, man. Appreciate ya.
Thanks, Moy.
Right. See ya.